The 2023 trade deadline is now just over 2 days away, and rumors are flying all over the place. It can be hard to tell what is real and which is smoke. However, one stood out to me as interesting. It's being reported that the Miami Heat are motivated to move Kyle Lowry before Thursday's deadline. The Heat have climbed up to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference and have been very impressive over the last couple months after a somewhat rocky start to the season. The team is heading in the right direction, and with Jimmy Butler at the helm, they can compete with anyone in a playoff series. However, it's understandable that they might want to upgrade the one spot. Lowry is 36 years old, and his stats are down to 12 points and 5 assists per game, while only shooting 33% from 3. The wear and tear from all the minutes he's played over the years is clearly catching up to him, and the Heat need a new option if they want to compete in the playoffs. A deal would have to include teams looking for veteran point guard help and having a younger option they wanted to move off of. With all that being said, let's look at some potential trade options for Kyle Lowry at this year's deadline. Before we get into Kyle Lowry destinations, if you enjoy my content and have watched a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Let's start with a deal that would send Lowry back home to the Toronto Raptors, where he won the championship in 2019. He is often regarded as the best player in Raptors history and even has the nickname Mr. Raptor. The team is looking to move point guard Fred VanVleet before the deadline, and Lowry could mentor the reigning Rookie of the Year Scottie Barnes in Toronto. Now, what would a Lowry to Toronto deal look like? The one I constructed has the Raptors receiving Kyle Lowry, Omer Yurtseven, and a 2023 first-rounder in exchange for Fred VanVleet and Thaddeus Young. The Raptors get their franchise legend back, a young big who has looked solid in stretches for Miami, and a first-rounder for taking on Lowry's salary. The Heat get VanVleet, who can be a higher contributing point guard, and a veteran big to replace Dwayne Dedmon in the rotation. The Heat could throw out a lineup of VanVleet, Hero, Butler, Martin, and Adebayo, which would give them a great starting unit and make them much more real contenders in the Eastern Conference. Next, let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are in need of a veteran presence as well. There have been multiple rumors of their willingness to move off of point guard D'Angelo Russell so they can get themselves a more experienced guard in return. Now, what would a Lowry to Minnesota deal look like? The deal I constructed has the T-Wolves receiving Kyle Lowry and Max Strus in exchange for D'Angelo Russell and a second-round pick. In this deal, the Wolves get a veteran in Lowry who can be a steady hand at the one spot and isn't concerned with taking shots away from young star Anthony Edwards. They also add a 3-and-D wing who can play serious playoff minutes for them in Max Strus. The Heat get a near 27-year-old point guard in D'Lo, who's having a great season so far and is nearly 10 years younger than Lowry. He's putting up 18 points per game on 46% from the field and 39% from 3 on good volume. He can space the floor for Miami and provide them with more of a scoring punch than Lowry was. They also get a second rounder because they gave up Strus in the deal. D'Lo obviously has more trade value than the 36-year-old Lowry, but Strus likely makes it slightly uneven towards Minnesota. The emergence of Caleb Martin this year and Hero starting also makes Strus kind of expendable. Lastly, let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans, who pretty clearly need point guard help. They've been playing CJ McCollum there a lot this season, and he's clearly a natural two-guard. There was also some reported interest in Lowry by the Pelicans before he got moved to the Heat in the 2021 offseason. The Pelicans can be really good when healthy, and a deal like this could help push them over the top. So what would a Lowry to New Orleans deal look like? This deal isn't as simple as they don't really have a great salary match for Lowry. This deal has the Pelicans receiving Kyle Lowry and Dwayne Dedmon in exchange for Devontae Graham, Kira Lewis, Najee Marshall, a first, and a couple salary fillers as well. The Pelicans get their answer at point guard and take Dedmon off Miami's hands to sweeten the deal. They could run out a lethal starting five of Lowry, McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Jonas Valanciunas, while keeping the young guys like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, and Dyson Daniels as depth. The Heat get off of Lowry's contract and might not get a strict point guard upgrade, but add multiple pieces that can help this team. Hayes is an immediate backup 5 upgrade over Dedmon. Najee Marshall has been a really impressive wing scorer this season, and Graham can hold down some minutes at the 1, while Kyra Lewis maybe can develop into something in Miami. They have a great team over there. They'd have to reroute or cut a couple guys to make this deal work, but the pieces are interesting additions. Honestly, Marshall could be an upgrade over Martin in the starting lineup. The Miami Heat seem increasingly motivated to move Kyle Lowry before Thursday's deadline. They've risen to the 6th seed in the East and want to capitalize on a possible playoff run. Who knows how much longer Jimmy Butler will really be in Miami. Could be 2 seasons, could be 5 seasons, but they should capitalize on the time they have. They could look at point guard rentals in Fred VanVleet or D'Angelo Russell, who are free agents after this season, but do provide an immediate upgrade over Kyle Lowry. Or they could look at filler pieces from a team like the Pelicans, or maybe even someone like the Los Angeles Clippers. This year's trade deadline continues to stay very interesting, and it seems unlikely that Lowry will be on the Heat by the end of the week. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.